Interior design career trends for 2025. And this is something that's been happening across this past year. So I'm starting to realize how, I mean, we all know that the industry, the interior design industry is constantly changing. It's evolving. It isn't that old an industry. So obviously we started with the architecture and interior design and then interior decorating, interior styling and interior staging, all of these kind of different elements of interior design and how they evolve or have been evolving over time is really interesting. So we all know that the industry is evolving. So what is it now that's changing that you have to take really interest in? Because if you aren't interested in it, you might fall behind. So the things I've noticed, and there's 5 of them. First of all is that, well, you probably know this one, it's the most obvious one, that technology is impacting the way that we work as interior designers. So it's not only impacting efficiency, it's impacting our workflows, it's creating new tools for us where some parts of interior design and architecture are now becoming like not useful anymore. So I keep focusing on this idea of rendering. It's something I would not potentially study myself because the AI technology in that area is increasing faster than any other part of interior design or architecture. So that means that if your focus for your career in interior design heavily focuses on bespoke AI rendering, is that a good idea moving forward? Because the technology in AI is really overtaking that. So somebody who in the past might have required, or did require because I used to do it, and still do it, is you need lighting knowledge, you need photography knowledge, you need like excellent computers and high spec machinery as well as software in order to render photo realistic imagery for interior design and architecture. Is that going to be a necessary skill in the future? Well, with AI, probably not. If you're already using Chrome AI or Archisynth, you're already starting to see the evolution of this, and you can already upload an image and start rendering it and by prompting. So there is no real skill besides the skill of prompting really required. So it's something you need to take advantage of, you need to understand, and you really need to know about if you are an interior designer. So that is the biggest one, the most obvious one. So that is the first real career trend that we're seeing a big change in. Secondly, this one has been around since, it has been evolving for the last few years, but what it is virtual design and the globalization of interior design. This is a big one because it means that you're not limited by location. Those of us designers who do design globally, this is going to become more accessible and even more accessible, and it is growing because the use or the knowledge of e-design is not only, or virtual design, whatever you want to call it, it allows you to access a different market, because we all know about luxury design. Luxury interiors is what vast majority of interior designers aspire to be as a luxury full service interior designer. However, the way to get into the industry is to do virtual design. And that is a great, safe way to focus on concept and create really fantastic designs, not just for people locally and face to face, but anywhere in the world. And this is something that has been changing and growing, and it will continue to grow. So does that mean you have to offer an e-design service? Well, not necessarily, because if you're already past this, it may not be something necessary for you. However, if you are just starting out in the industry, this might be something that is very relevant and might be worth looking into. I do teach how to present e-design. I do teach as how to become an e-designer or a virtual designer in my mentorship. So if that is something that is interesting to you, have a look at our mentorship options. So thirdly, what is another trend that is emerging? You've seen it, but have you really really considered that this is something to really take advantage of or take notice of. Sustainable design has been around for a long time. I studied sustainable design now 25 years ago at university, but it's now evolved. It's not just sustainable design and about specifying sustainable materials. It's about a connection with nature. It's about ethical sourcing. It's about wellness, that connection to nature, and it goes deeper than just sustainable design. So if you understand this concept of sustainable design, take it one step further. If you're not already providing sustainable design options or sustainable design, or if you're not already including it as standard, which you should be, including sustainable principles in the way that you design, even if you're not presenting that as a marketing tool to clients, you need to go a little bit step further now and take sustainable design into ethical design, biophilic design, and wellness. So it's now moving to an area that it's not just about specifying sustainable materials. It's now moved forward into health and well-being. It's about our connection with nature and how that impacts us on a daily basis in our homes, in our workspaces, in the places we choose to go on holidays and stay in hotels. So this is an interesting one because you kind of see it, but a lot of people don't know how to include it. And so this is something to take note of. It is a trend that's changing, but it's also a trend that you need to understand because people are looking for it. So if it's, again, like with technology or potentially virtual design, if it's something that you're ignoring in your business and it's business as usual, you need to take note because this is something that's not going away. It will grow. The next one is interior styling. I thought this one was an interesting one because interior styling used to be more commercial. It was an interior, it was a very commercial profession. But now interior styling, people are starting to see its value in the home. So obviously, if you're a full service interior designer starting from concept and you are literally doing the install, physically installing and doing the styling at the final completion, then this would be normal to you. However, for the vast majority of interior designers who don't do that kind of final like reveal with the styling, this is actually becoming a lot more important. So if you're a designer who isn't a natural stylist, and if you don't understand styling, which I didn't for a very long time, it's not only becoming more prevalent as a request from clients, but they're becoming more knowledgeable in the sense that they realize that these are the things that make a difference. You can, like for example, in architecture, you can create a fantastic interior, but it's those final styling elements that really make a difference, that really convert that house into a home. So those personal elements, those personal touches, that difference between a cup positioned, or let's just say a vase positioned on a mantelpiece, as opposed to the whole mantelpiece being styled to connect with the room and to the thing that makes you want to be in that space. So it's the ethereal, the things that you cannot really describe that make a difference, and people are starting, or clients are starting to request that. And so in the profession of interior design, styling is starting to become not just a commercial requirement. So for us commercial designers who that is a pretty standard thing to do. Also, if you're working in like a magazine styling shoots. But now it's becoming more and more and more relevant in residential interiors. So that's the fourth one. And the last one is quite an exciting one, I think, because this is something that's been evolving. And if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that this is an interest I take quite a lot in. But what it is interior architecture and interior design are separating. This is kind of an interesting one because it can be a bit confusing around the world because some places just use the term interchangeably, interior architecture and interior design. But now these are starting to become two separate professions. And I think this is quite exciting because architecture was always separate from interior design. But in the last year, year and a half, 2 years, you can see this evolution of interior architects trying to separate themselves from interior designers in the same way that licensed interior designers used to try and separate themselves from interior decorators. So you can see how this is now starting to become really interesting, that instead of architects, interior designers, interior decorators, interior stylists, you now have interior design, interior architect. Well, you now have architects, interior designers, interior decorators, interior stylists. So this is now starting to create a new profession. So you heard it here first. It's we're going to have a separate profession, and this is going to start creating a more technical interior design. So in technical interior architecture. So and it's been evolving. So know where this is going to start impacting you, because when these things change, when these things start to evolve in the industry, you start to hear more about it, but then you need to know what your position is or where you stand in this, what your opinion is on it. Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think this is a bad thing? How does this impact you? So the main thing that you will need to understand is that the word architect, pretty much 99% of the world protects that title. So if you are calling yourself an interior architect, even if you have got a degree in interior architecture, that may still not mean that you are an interior architect. So some places have just simply swapped the title interior designer for interior architect. But you need to look into the regulation around that. So that is probably the main thing to kind of focus on. And that's it. So what was it? There were the interior design trends to look out for, that they will affect you. So you need to be aware of these. So technology, you know it. Virtual design, it's definitely happening. This one, you need to take a stand on it, whether it's right for you or not, but some type of, even now I don't provide an e-design service, but I do provide global services to my clients. And I still provide a lot of virtual design, including especially presentation, for that element of my my design process for those international clients. So how you expand your I suppose your services to incorporate these new skills is open to you. Thirdly, sustainable ethical design, biophilic design, our connection to nature. This is not going away, it's going to grow. The next one is interior styling. This is no longer just a commercial field, it's now in residential. This is now going to be something that your clients are going to start asking for, which is good news, because that was something that interior designers always knew, that this was something that we needed to do, but a lot of clients were asking for it. And of course, we have a course on interior styling, which actually dissects how to do interior styling, not in the fluffy way, but the actual science behind interior styling. Because, as you know, that was something I really struggled with because I was a technical designer. Obviously, my training is in architecture, and I came through. And for me, styling was something that was just really confusing, because I just thought that meant that you had designed the space badly. So I've got a really great course on interior styling that actually gives you the science behind how to style. So if you're interested in that, have a look at our mentorship options. And then finally, the profession of interior architecture and interior design, how they're separating into separate professions.